had a whole bunch of wins and successes, but is there one or two that you'd like to share at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, there's one that I think is kind of reminiscent of how we'd like them all to go, right? So the customer came to Trace3 with, they were looking to reduce costs around infrastructure, gain efficiencies, operational efficiencies, all things that, played well into our solution, as well as they were looking for a platform that could do VMs and containers. So the Trace3 team worked with our team. I believe there were some assessments done and things of that nature. But the reason I love that story is because a year later they were able to show them 30% efficiency gains and measurable cost savings from deploying.
Yeah, and
VCF.
that's significant. Great. Yeah, that's a great story, honestly, because 30% is definitely moving the needle at that point.
Yeah.
And so, did that client, they were consolidating workloads? Is that what it was?
They consolidating workloads,
Yeah.
but through the conversations, they had other projects that actually started to come up around possibly looking at our AI solution as well.
Yeah.
But no, their main concern was around platform, mainly, and supporting VMs and containers.
Yeah. Well, that's a good tie-in to start talking about a little bit of your AI capabilities that you've added. I know that there's been some recent announcements and updates to the platform. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, first of all, we added our private AI solution to our core offering, right? Mm-hmm. So customers now get that out of the box. Mm-hmm. But the way we look at it is AI kind of presents a lot of the same challenges, customer challenges that we've seen work out, to our benefit over the years, right? They need something that's extremely scalable and rapidly scalable, right? Scale up and scale down.
Yeah.
They need something, again, that's like operationally efficient, easy to manage. It would be nice to have a customizable dashboard, right? So. Yeah. From our perspective, we provide the platform, and then we give them the freedom to go out and choose to work with whatever OpenAI or commercial AI vendor they want to work with. So I feel like we all kind of feel like at VMware that we're uniquely positioned to kind of be a neutral player to help organizations kind of build that infrastructure that's going to be so key to their success around AI.
Yeah. So from a hardware perspective, you've always supported a very broad array of solutions, which has been very beneficial to a lot of clients. So it could be GPUs from multiple sources, and then the clients are free then to overlay however they want to handle scheduling, or is that the way it's handled? Okay.
Absolutely. And because you can assign vGPU resources within VMs, it allows them to really maximize the capacity of the GPU. So you're getting full productivity out of the GPUs, which is extremely important, as we know, with cost and the ability to get them. Yeah. So we feel like we're well positioned there as well. Around, again, that's more of the operational efficiency gains that they get through that. So
that's great. Another area that we've been talking about a lot is how there's been this convergence in the market around platforms. It's really, how do we consolidate and lower our costs of operations, lower our costs overall handling, going from maybe where they have, a dozen best-in-breed solutions, but now consolidating that down to 2 or 3 or maybe platforms. How do you feel like that works with VCF in general and what's been happening in the market?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you just look at VCF itself, right? Yeah. So that's our convergence. Yeah. So we, for years and years, were point solutions, and then VCF was kind of a bundle of those point solutions. And we moved completely from that model to platform about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago when Broadcom acquired us, and the new solution that just came out, our version 9 last year, kind of delivers on a lot of those promises that we made from that convergence. So for us, we were part of that movement, I think, and maybe at the forefront, because now we have this platform that's well developed with established technology that customers are used to using. Yeah. And so we're kind of like well positioned, and the timing was great for our platform to come out. Because now, to your point, we're seeing it across the industry. So customers are looking for less dashboards.
Yeah. And from a trend perspective, I think we're definitely seeing, and Paul, I know you could probably comment on this, of more clients looking at that hybrid use case. How do we support the public cloud and have a consistent footprint on premise where we're getting the same experience and approach in APIs maybe being consumed, et cetera, et cetera. So how are you seeing that play out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about like the latest stuff that we've done with Broadcom and the migration to the CSPs of. It's been migrations, right? I mean, and then there's a lot of underestimation of like the ability for that's where Trace3 comes into play, where we have the talent to do those migrations and build the foundations and understand, we want to make this as secure as we can in cloud as we had on-prem, and make it as easy for the customer to migrate VMs and workloads into cloud. Is that what does that look like in the next 12 months and for service providers and Broadcom going forward? And there's everything comes into play. It's the networking side of things and the hardware and the AI considerations.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we did a survey last year of our own customer base through a third party of 1,800 executives. Of course, the results were very, very favorable to what we were looking for, but the trends were kind of obvious. And then, to your point, the one that I think is most interesting to this conversation is the trust level of public cloud versus private is almost equal. It's like just over 50%.
Very important.
Yeah. So right around there, and then the trust level for AI and containers was just slightly to the advantage of private cloud, and goes to that point of security and compliance. So we're certainly seeing a lot of those trends, and especially for AI workloads because of the data and privacy concerns around that as well. Wanting to move that back on-prem, and because infrastructure costs could just go, consumption costs could go through the roof with AI. So.
Yeah, for sure. We had this conversation a little bit earlier with others as well about how, the promise of public cloud was the elasticity. And I think the limitations that many people have experienced, though, are needing to have reserved instances of GPUs in the public cloud has made it not fulfill that promise in some instances, not all.
True.
But then, once clients have proven out what they need to accomplish, and maybe that it happens in a smaller environment on-prem or in the public cloud, then they build it out, and it becomes more cost-effective to standardize on-premise and be able to use their GPUs effectively and efficiently on in their data center.
Yeah, and the thing that we always stress too is, and we see the trend with our customers is, it doesn't have to be like all at once, right? Slowly move workloads back. And see how comfortable you are with it. Yeah. And we still see the scenario of things that make sense to be hybrid stills too. So there's definitely that.
Do you still see clients, doing that back and forth, kind of pushing more into the public cloud for short periods of time and then pulling back where it's more cost effective or more efficient? Do you see that happening a lot?
So yeah, we still do see it. Probably not as much. I feel like customers have kind of gotten their heads wrapped around how to handle that
costs.
Either internally or a better way of doing it, right? But we definitely still see it. It's part of actually our sales training. That's one of the questions when you said that. It reminded me. So we make sure our sales reps remember that that's still a reason people buy. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like is top of mind right now for a lot of the technology decision makers in this economic situation? We've been talking about chip shortages, right, and what's happening. There's a lot of these macro trends. So what do you think is top of mind from our clients?
Yeah, definitely AI. I mean, everybody's talking about AI, so we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Chip shortages for sure.
Yeah.
But then the one that we run into the most lately is the memory shortages and DRAM situation, because when the new version of our solution came out last year, we listed that in just kind of like a line sheet. We have memory tiering capability, so you can put cold memory pages into NVMe memory, and free up DRAM space, right? So because that's one of the line items, customers have been asking Trace3 and asking us, like, hey, tell us more about this memory tiering now that it's become a whole lot more relevant. So that's when we see a lot, is just around DRAM shortages and how can you kind of help us manage our memory situation better. Because we've always kind of had kind of leading edge technology around, you know, getting the most out of your resources, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I may not up to speed. So when we say Broadcom and we say AI, how do you go through the cycles of like what that means for the business?
So we get a quarterly briefing from our CEO. There's 20, I'll probably get it wrong, more than 20 business units within Broadcom. The most famous one is our AI chip unit, right? So that's the one that makes the media. And that's really leading our whole organization right now. And so it was, you know, again, either pure genius or great timing. The acquisition of VMware provides a nice platform to go along with that overall story. And then, you know, we still have that brag that, you know, 90+% of every piece of data that crosses the internet touches some sort of Broadcom equipment, right? So we're very prolific in the marketplace, not just on the VMware side, but to your point, as Broadcom as a whole. And then, you know, the last point I'll make on AI is we're stuck up there, like it or not, with NVIDIA. So we ride that same wave with them, really, regardless of how the VMware business is doing. So yeah, but it's, you know, an overall strategy for the company. It's our, you know, our North Star for the coming year, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so to kind of clarify that, it's more on the chipset side of things and the GPU side of things for that you're considering for the AI.
That's where we're seeing just massive growth.
And the ability to filter that, or not filter that through, but to like work it through the Broadcom or the legacy VMware type OS overlay type situation.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, we don't tie the business units. I don't know anybody in that business unit. So we're not like tied together,
Right.
But certainly integrated, in the stories, you know, go very well together. So.
Good.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for the time.